who is okay. So good morning, everyone. My name is Adeniki Adebola, and I'll just like to tell you a bit about TTM professionals. So a bit of a background. Nearly everyone is at a stage or the other of their career from the time the baby is born to once you get the child to the creche, the professional journey has started, and we're all at different journeys. So some of us are students, others are fresh graduates that are seeking employment. We have entry-level professionals that are just trying to find their way and learn the ropes, know how to behave in the professional world. We have mid-career professionals, and a good number of us in the community kind of fall in this category where we are trying to decide, should I continue with the career I started with, or is this something that do I want to, some people will decide that, okay, let me continue a bit, but start a business. Some other people are like, you know what, I'm leaving and I'm going to start a new business. And even when you're starting a business, we can say you're a professional, but for us here, we've kind of divided that. We have a separate community for people that are starting up. That's what I've called the startup corner. So some people will just decide that, you know what, I don't want to continue with this career that I started with. I want to have a change in focus. They are still on the professional spectrum anyway. Some other people, yeah, like I said, moonlighting. And then we have the other category of people that have kind of gone through that phase and have decided that, you know what, I'm going to continue with this place, or maybe they've even had a career change, but they are now getting close to the peak of their career. And many times you begin to look back and ask yourself, what impact am I leaving here? Have I raised, some people, they'll tell you that a success without a successor is actually a failure. So you still have people that are asking themselves, have I done the best I can? Will the world remember me? No, and so they probably want to do some form of mentoring, but they don't have time to put up a full-blown structure and all of that to have a full-blown mentoring program. I know there's that desire and ache in many of our older people. They want to pass on knowledge, but they don't have a good avenue to do that. So TTM Professionals was set up to address all of these needs needs of professionals at different career stages of their career. So we created a community for professionals where we would support professionals as they go through the different stages of their career. So we have the following, we currently do the following. We have career opportunities we share. It's like a job board. Anyone has career opportunities, you drop them, and hopefully I've got testimonies from people that although they didn't tell us in the group, they actually followed up on the career opportunities we've been dropping, and they've got the job. So thank you very much to everyone that has been contributing that way. We share tips for the careers. We also have career talks. We've been doing more of that on WhatsApp before now, but today we are starting off with our webinars. And for now, we've had more or less like an informal structure for mentoring, but we're looking into making it a more structured program where people know that, oh, I want to give back. And so one of the ways we could do that is for the mentors to come on webinars like this. Sometimes it could be maybe in the WhatsApp session, but basically there's a formal structure where you're passing on the knowledge that you're gaining, because I've heard some people say that that the difference between the Dead Sea, I think, and I've forgotten what the other sea was, is that the Dead Sea collects, but it doesn't give back. And so it's dead. But for most of the other seeds that are fresh, as they're collecting, they're giving out, so they are creating room for more. And so that's one of the benefits you get when you share your knowledge. And then we also have, for people for professionals as well, we offer CV writing and review services. That's, of course, a paid service. You need to speak with me especially for that. And then we also help professionals optimize their LinkedIn pages so that you're more attractive to your employer. Again, that's a paid service. And TTM Professionals is affiliated with Tent Makers Online Reloaded. That's a registered company. And so these are the ways you can contact us. The email is there. You can contact us on WhatsApp, check on the website, and go on Instagram. Thank you very much. It's been a long talk for me. So I would like to invite to the podium. I'm going to stop sharing now. And I would like to invite, I keep calling him professor in my head, Pastor Wole DADA. Thank you very much for offering to facilitate today's session on boss management. Another thing I forgot to mention is that no matter where you are in your career, you most likely have a boss. And even for the CEO, you still report to a board. Someone asked me a question this morning. It was like, oh, would my boss be happy to know that I'm attending this session? And I told the person that actually, when I went to First Bank Training School before I joined, before I left. And one of the courses we took was actually boss management. And many of the problems a lot of us are having at work could probably be because we have poor boss management skills. So I believe this is timely. Pastor Wole DADA, please, let's give him a cyber clap as he takes the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here today to share briefly with us what she has emphasized and spoken so much about. In other words, managing your boss. Unfortunately, for many people, they did not have this opportunity, and they end up having stunted growth in their career. I will start by sharing two stories which happened in two different companies for me. By way of introduction, I currently lead the sales and marketing team at Security Limited. Security Limited is the Africa's largest smart card manufacturing plant, which is located in Nigeria. One of the great things that is happening in this country. We manufacture payment cards, SIM cards, and identity management cards for the government. And one of the subsidiaries of the company is the one providing the e-ticketing service for the Abuja-Kaduna Railway. Before joining CKID, I was in Nestle, Nigeria. Before Nestle, I was in Samsung Mobile. Before that, I was in USC Foods. Before that, I was in Acumen Human Capital. The first story happened in USC Foods. I had a boss who felt my ethical stance was just being a pretense. And he used to say, how can you be a salesman and you don't womanize? How can you be a salesman and you don't drink? It was a difficult thing for him to accept. And so anytime he says to me, stop pretending. There is no place where we don't have unethical things happening. In the Yoruba part of Southwest Nigeria, there is a statement that says, in other words, there is no place where when it is night, people don't hide under the cover of darkness to do all manner of nefarious activities. And I will respond to him in the same manner. I said, sir, whatsoever I can't do in the day, I won't do in the night under the cover of darkness. In other words, as he gives it to me, I give it back to him. That was stupid. I was innocently foolish. And so it was a tug of war between the two of us before I eventually left the organization. The second story happened in Nestle. I was promoted and I was moved to another location. So I was redeployed to another region to start my regional activity. And on the eve of my departure, my boss called me to his office And he said, Dada, sit down. Are you ambitious? It was a difficult question because I also know if I start talking about my ambition, it may be something that might land me in trouble. But hesitantly, I answered yes. He said, but you don't show it. I said, sir, I am not a show-off. He laughed. He said, then there will be a limit to how far you can go in this organization. Hear this. This is a multinational, not a one-man business. And so when people say this cannot happen in a structured organization, we are deceiving ourselves. When people say this is because it is Nigeria, I laugh. All the books that I have read on managing your boss were written by the whites. So if it is not happening in their circles, they won't have something to write about. In fact, one was written by a professor. Now, he said, if not, when I asked about you from one or two of your bosses, I never knew what you were doing. He said, I understand your prior stand because of the kind of personality that you have. But if you don't change your approach, you may not go too far. He further said, this feedback I'm giving you is the feedback from the country manager, who was like the managing director of our own subsidiary. He said, because when I introduced you to him, in fact, the man knows me, but he doesn't know the limit of my achievements. He said, when I told him about you, that we were moving you, he was scared and he felt, who? That one? I don't think I can get anything done. So, but when I asked about you from those people you have worked with, they spoke glowingly. So he said to me, you must learn how to let people know what you are doing. And that is one of the things you will get to see as we go on. You must not only be working, you must be seen to be working. Many people are working, sweating, doing everything possible and required in their workplace. But the people that will write the appraisal are not aware. Somebody said, God sees me. I know God sees you, but God won't write your appraisal. Man will write your appraisal. The man who will write your appraisal needs to see you and needs to know what you are doing. Because if he does not know what you are doing, even if you have results, the results can be explained away. The result can be said to be fluke because they never understood or saw what you were doing in the course of your activities. So I took the great lesson from my boss, and it was a turning for me that led me to searching for books and materials. And for purpose of those who will be interested, I will recommend two books for you written by the same author, Kelly Riordan. One, It's All Politics, with a footnote, Surviving in a World Where Talent and Hard Work Does Not Matter. The second is The Secret Handshake by the same author. First, It's All Politics.
Can you repeat the names of the books, please?
It's All Politics. That's the title of the book. Kelly Riordan. That's the name of the author. And it's the same author that wrote the other one, The Secret Handshake. These two books will help you to understand that organizational politics is a must.
Sorry, sir. Sorry to take you back. Sorry, please. What's the Kelly's surname? Can you spell it? I'm sorry. I didn't quite get it.
A-E-L-L-Y. Reardon is R-E-A-R-D-O-N.
Okay, R-E-A-R-D-O-N. Thank you.
Yes. Again, for emphasis, it's all politics. It has a footnote, surviving in a world where talent and hard work does not matter. And it is important for me to tell you that as you move further in your career, what you will be evaluated on is more of your political sagacity and less of your technical competence. At the top, technical competence is less evaluated because what is required for you at the top is how to get results through people. And like my friend said, even CEOs report to the board. You need to know how to manage board members when you are a CEO. Now, politics has been given a negative connotation, and that is why many people run away. When you hear politics, either in the secular world or in the political world, it scares people. But simply said, politics is the ability to manage the people around you and get the best from them. The negative connotation that politics has taken is one of the things that makes people to run away when such is being discussed. But you cannot run away from this. It is part of human life. In fact, anywhere human beings are, politics is involved. I am giving you this background so as to give a better understanding as we move into the points that we'll be discussing. Even in your homes, a friend was sharing something with me recently. The wife went against his decision some years back. And so that decision eventually became, the wife discovered that no, this was not supposed to be. So this particular day, my friend got home and the wife went to kneel down to him, beside him. He was scared. What has happened? Am I in trouble? And the wife said, I know you may not like what I want to say, but please, that decision that we took years ago, I want us to reverse it, and I need your support. What the woman has just done is politics. She has looked for ways to warm herself into the heart of her husband in order to get what she wants. Permit me to refresh our memory for those who study the scriptures. When Joseph was in the prison, he spoke to the butler. When you get to the palace, don't forget me. What he has simply done is politics. We don't call it that name, but that is it. He's looking for how to get out of the prison. And he has managed to connect with the fellow that they were in prison together. So that when that one gets to the place of power, he will be able to talk about him. And what happened? 2 years after, even though it was said that he forgot him, the man also played politics and said, I have a candidate. I know he's competent to deliver you from this predicament that you are in. The butler too played politics. After 2 years, I am trying to explain to you that these things happen in our day-to-day life. So when you hear it, don't get scared. When they talk about organizational politics, it's not an evil word. Yes, there is evil politics because there are people in the organization who try to run somebody else down because they want to go up. That is evil. That is wicked. And one of the reasons you need to understand organizational politics is how to deal with such people. Because you can't run away from evil people. When Jesus was with his disciples, the mother of two of his disciples, James and John, went to talk to him and say, Master, these my two children. I want one to sit on your left and the other to sit on your right. And every other person can find wherever they are. I care less about them. What the woman was just doing was politics. She wants the best place for her children. And she's trying to manage and put her words across in the way and manner that it will achieve results. And that was simply what was being done there. So how do you navigate in your career? Most especially when your boss is the source from where you is the connecting point from where you are today to where you need to be. Because even if you want to be promoted and your boss does not recommend you, that's going to be a great stumbling block. At the end of each year, bosses write our appraisals. So you cannot do away with your boss. He or she is someone that you will need to go through before your next place. There's one of my statements that says the workplace is not a courtroom where decisions concerning you are going to be made in your presence. Yes. In the workplace, most of the decisions concerning you, if not all, are made without your knowledge. So how do you manage the people who are going to make those decisions so that when those decisions are going to be made, you will be favored? This is just like an introduction to take us to the next point. So my first rule, basically we'll be discussing two brief things, and then we give room for questions. I will close. Understand your boss. The boss you do not understand, you cannot manage. In fact, the same thing applies to the management of your team members. The team member you do not understand, you cannot manage. Many times we are managing fishes who learn how to swim, who have the capacity to swim. However, we are expecting them to climb trees. I repeat, many times we are managing fishes whose capacity has been developed over the years, and their innate ability is to swim. But our expectation of them is to climb trees. They will live all their lives frustrated, and the boss himself will be frustrated. That is why in managing teams, you need to understand the peculiarity of each one of them. The same applies to your bosses. You need to understand your boss. You need to know his peculiarity. You need to know what it stands for. Your boss has unethical tendencies, and you are someone over the years who stands for ethics. If you don't understand that and find a way to manage that difference, then you end up in crisis. Because, like I've said, you will manage unethical bosses. If you are someone who stands for ethics and you don't know how to navigate your way through an unethical boss, then you will always have problems. So you will always need to understand your boss. What are the things to understand? You must understand his needs. What does he want? What are the things that are important to him? You must understand his interests. You must understand his concerns. The first thing you need when you get into an environment or a new boss is moved over to your place is to take time to study that boss. I've worked with several colleagues and you imagine them just stepping on the ground anyhow, what the Yorubas we call untele shwa shwa. Just doing things without any form of composure. You must take time to understand the environment and the boss that you are working with in order to maximize or optimize the moment. His interests, his concerns. What are the things that are paramount to him? What are his goals? What are his insecurities? There are things that make your boss fear. You are not supposed to blow those things. If not, he will see you as someone that is at the opposite end. And anytime he sees you, there will be something in his brain that resents you. Please take note of this statement. Human beings are much more emotional than logical. We're emotional beings. And our actions and inactions are driven by our emotions. Love, hate, belief, passion, enthusiasm. All these things are emotional words. And these are things that drive people. Fear. The fear of the unknown. Your faith in your God. These are not logical words. And so if you don't understand that people are driven by emotions of what they like and what they do not like, you will not be able to manage your boss effectively. Even the relationship between couples need to be managed to optimize the relationship. What are your boss's goals? What are his priorities? What is his language? There are some words you know your boss does not like to hear. Either because it makes him fear or because he does not like it as a matter of personal choice. And because you think you know and you know how to speak English, those are the languages you keep hammering on. You are sending a signal to your boss in his subconscious that this person is not to be liked. There's an example I used to make in my days in Nestle Waters. Nestle Pure Life happened to be one of the most expensive bottled water in the country. But you don't dare go to a meeting and say the product is expensive. Someone may ask me, what then will you say? The price is less competitive. You are saying the same thing, but you are saying it in different ways. Many times at work, the same thing that could have been said, we don't use the correct language and we don't get the better results. Your language at work must be synonymous to the acceptable language of your boss. So you must understand the language of your boss, and you must also understand his preferences. What are the things he prefers? In the next slide, you will see something. What is your boss's metrics for performance? What you think is the metric for performance may be different from what your boss counts as the metrics for performance. I give another example from experience working in FMCG, consumer goods. Some bosses like to see visibility and ensure that when they go out, the whole market is painted with their products. You may be getting your monthly revenue, but if your boss does not see visibility of the product in the trade, he may not be interested in that monthly target that you are meeting. Meanwhile, for some bosses, they care less if there is visibility or not. All what they want to see is that numbers at the end of the month. Now, I'm using sales as examples, but for whichever career path that you have, supply chain, accounting, taxation, understand your boss and understand what he wants to see. Now, hear this. If your boss likes PowerPoint presentations, please, if you don't know how to, if your PowerPoint skills are not very optimal, please go and improve them. If that is what your boss likes, to see PowerPoint, go and improve those skills. Your boss may be an Excel person. If your Excel skill is not optimal, go and improve it. You need to understand what your boss wants. You need to understand his metrics of performance. You need to understand his language. You need to understand his preferences. Your boss may like his report in a particular manner. If that manner is not the standard manner, please align with his manner. Align with his approach. Because you cannot mark yourself. The judge, who is your boss, is saying, this is the approach I want. Then you must align with it. Else, you may enter crisis with him. I've mentioned metrics of performance. You must understand your boss's objectives. Because it is your responsibility to help your boss meet his objectives, meet our objectives. So you must understand our objectives, our plans, our organizational plans. What is his personal growth expectation? It is your responsibility to help your boss grow. When you help your boss grow, the law of nature demands that it will help you grow in return. But many of us are just concerned about ourselves and ourselves alone, not knowing that there is importance in helping other people who are major stakeholders achieve the objectives so that they will help us in return. Help your boss achieve his or her personal growth objectives. What is the second rule? Connect with your boss. Reading the book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That was when I came across the word emotional bank account. And let me quickly give more insight into this. I have an emotional bank account with my boss. The same way my boss has emotional bank account with me. Every time I do good, I do something that impresses my boss, I am depositing inside my emotional account, emotional bank account with my boss. The day I do something that my boss does not like, I have withdrawn from that emotional bank account. How huge your balance is with your boss determines how he is ready to stand on your behalf. So when you have two friends, both of them have emotional bank accounts with each other. The good they do to each other is what increases the balance of the bank account with each one. The day somebody does bad things that the other person does not like, that emotional bank account is reduced. If you keep doing bad, you reduce that account till 0. If you continue doing bad, the account goes to negative. Many of us have negative bank accounts with our bosses because we have consistently done things that the boss does not like. Hence, when he sees us, he doesn't like us. So you have a responsibility to think of what to do that will help you increase your bank account with your boss. And that is why we're talking here, connect with your boss. The level of your connection, the strength of your connection determines how well your boss will go for you. I've seen bosses who have pushed me for promotion. It's as a result of my consistent increase in my bank account with them. And building your bank account does not mean you are doing personal stuff for them. No, it just simply means you have been doing things that is impressive to them. So say, connect with your boss. And here we will look at this point one after the other. Spend time with your boss. The boss you hardly communicate with will not have an emotional connection with you. Oh, you say your boss does not want to speak with you, perhaps because as we speak now, there is a relationship that is not well connected between the two of you. Send messages. Perhaps you call him, he doesn't pick your call. Send messages. And as we move on, looking at each of these things, we will look at it one by one to see if one cannot be done, another one can be done. Spend time with your boss. Oh, somebody says, my boss is not in the same location with me. Try and put a call across. Try and discuss official matters. Let your boss know what you are doing. Be a person of results. Sometimes people think politics is about leaving your work undone and then pursuing, going to your boss's house in the night and so on. No. All these things need to work together. Be a person of results. I have a personal principle. Anywhere I get to, I want to break records. And to the glory of God, God has helped me consistently. Everywhere I've worked, I have consistently done that. Be a person of results. Don't let your result be one that you will require a magnifying lens to look for. Let your result be something that will announce itself. I mean, you're talking about a region with the highest growth. Then you don't need somebody to tell you about that, because when the results are put together and it is being discussed at management meeting, it will be obvious that this particular region grew more than the other regions. Or you are talking about the only region that grew when there was a recession. And you are talking a product where others are finding difficult to sell, and this other region is selling it. You are a supply chain individual, and you have been able to negotiate something that the company has never been able to negotiate in their history. You are an accounting individual. You have been able to help the organization reduce the cost and make profit in a way and manner that they have never made. You are a strategy individual, and you have been able to put forward a strategy that has made the company make so much money. Be a person of result, because even if they don't like you, they cannot deny the effect of your results. The third point is linked to the second one. Give your 110%. That will increase your performance capital in the sight of your boss. Go the extra mile. Yes, I've seen people say, oh, I've gone the extra mile, but I was not rewarded. Yes, it happens. But that does not invalidate the need to go the extra mile. Like I've said, all these things are put together. If one is not working, the other one must be working. Demonstrate to your boss that you can be trusted through your actions and words. Can your boss count on you? Never miss an occasion to offer gifts to your boss. Never miss an occasion. I want to repeat that for emphasis. To offer gift to your boss. Permit me, from a scriptural dimension, The gift of a man maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. The gift of a man, not the talent. We mistake that place for talent. You can check other versions so as to give you a better understanding of that. Ebun, for those who speak Yoruba, gift. It's not bribe. Gift. Check other versions for those who are Christians. So even giving of gifts is recommended by the Bible. Never miss an occasion to offer gifts to your boss, because if you give your boss a gift on a day that is not his birthday or his anniversary, it may be misunderstood. Never miss an occasion to offer gifts to your boss. I've mentioned this earlier on. You must not only be working, you must be seen to be working. You must be visible. Remember the story I opened with? My boss never knew what I was doing. In other words, I was not visible. You must be visible. You must be seen to be working. Be circumspect. Do not utter everything in your mind. A story is going viral in the last few days of a professor who decided to make a condescending comment on the departure of the Queen. There are times you have reservations, but it is not every time you have reservations that you must utter it. A fool uttereth all that is in his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in until afterwards. The book of Ecclesiastes says there's a time to speak, there's a time to be silent, and there's a time to speak. Don't be known to see everything. There are times you need to learn to keep things in. In the Yoruba part of Southwest Nigeria, you hear that it is not everything that the eye see that the mouth should talk about. Understand your boss's expectation and ensure you meet it. We've talked about that earlier on, talking about understand your boss. So understand his expectation and ensure that you meet it. Work on your perception. Now listen to this. The way you are seen is much more important than the way you see yourself. Because you cannot judge yourself. Oh, you see yourself as a smart individual, but other people walking around you, and most especially a boss, does not see you in that manner. If there's any marketing individual here, you will agree with me that the products that sell today are sold on eye perception. The products that you buy in the market today, and you spend so much money, that has high value, they are products that are sold on the basis of perception. In your mind, you think this product is better than this other one. That is why today, put the same function of a low-end, I don't want to mention brand names now, and I'm trying to be careful. Put the same function of a phone that is different from Apple. Put it inside Apple. You will see that the value of the phone will go up. Why? Because you see Apple as a much more dependable and reliable product. That is why you go into a 4-star hotel, the price you will buy a bottled water is different from the price you will buy it in a 2-star hotel. Both of them are hotels. But perception is working in favor of one than the other. Your perception determines how far you will go in your career. How your boss see you is much more important than how you see yourself. Now, I put a statement here, which is from our culture in Yoruba part in Nigeria. It says, the stew the man of the house does not eat, the woman of the house does not cook it. What is the stew that your boss does not like? Why cooking consistently the same stew that your boss detests? You must be careful. You must be circumspect. You must get these things done in a manner that is in alignment with the expectations of your boss. Make the job of your boss easier. In terms of perception, let me repeat. Understanding how your boss wants you to be seen also goes into your dressing. Some people say, how can my boss determine how I dress? No problem. But bear the consequence of your nonchalant attitude. I started by saying, your boss is the judge. You are going into an high court. The outcome of the judgment is dependent on the judge that sits in that court. That your department today, your boss is the judge. Either you like it or not, accept it. It is when your boss gives the first judgment and you don't like it that you go to a superior court. And in that superior court, what your boss has written determines how the superior court will determine the next judgment. We need not to be heady about this. It is the reality of life. And the earlier you accept it, the better. Else, you will end up having stunted growth in your career. And those who know how to navigate will find themselves moving far. And then you say, we started together. Yes, you started together, but you understood life. You understood the reality of the workplace. You understood what it takes to survive. You understand that it's not only about the work that you do, but how you manage the people that matter. Make the job of your boss easier. These are ways by which you can connect with your boss. Always demonstrate a can-do attitude. Your attitude makes a difference. Your attitude makes a whole lot of difference. Never waste any opportunity to help your boss solve a problem. Your boss in a situation that is confused, step in. Those moments are moments to deposit in your emotional bank account with him. Those are the things that will count for you in days to come. Another thing I'd like to mention is that you need to manage not only your boss, but other stakeholders. There are times some people are suffering in their career today, not because they offended their boss, but they offended the colleagues of their boss. This is important and very critical for the survival of individuals in the workplace. I would like to end by saying you cannot survive in your career without the support of your boss. You cannot survive in your career without the support of your boss. I've made critical mistakes in the past. And that is one of the things that has led me into developing myself in this area, which has more or less become an area of expertise for me. Every week I release a nugget on my YouTube channel. It's something, if you are interested, you may like to subscribe. It was the mistake that I made and the consequences that led me to find out how can I manage my boss. And I can tell you, afterwards, my mistake was some 5-6 years ago. Afterwards, I've become a better person, even though I suffered, but God did not allow the suffering to be too much before He rescued me. I'm in a better place now, and I understand issues much more. I repeat for emphasis, you cannot survive in your career without the support of your boss. We all need our bosses to go forward. Like I said, even CEOs report to the board. And at the board, you have the chairman and you have other directors. The CEO has to manage the chairman of the board and other members of the board to survive in his own career. So we need our bosses to go forward. We need our bosses to navigate the stormy areas in our workplace. I would like to thank you for this time, and I will try to see if there are questions. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we'll listen to questions, feedback from everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We are grateful for your time. Thank you. If there's anyone that has a question, please can you raise your hands? I have two questions. Maybe I can go ahead and start asking my question while the others are going. So if you work in it, you said something about ensuring that you don't miss an opportunity to give your boss a gift, particularly on their anniversaries. But I used to work for an organization where there was a policy around giving up gifts and all of that. So how do you manage those types of restrictions while trying to still build your bank accounts with your boss? How can I manage it? Maybe I think there was a cap that you can't give anyone anything more than anyone that is related.
My apologies. Because I know of such organizations, but I am aware that those policies refer to getting gifts from people outside. Now, on your boss's birthday, I don't think such policy will apply to giving your boss a gift on his birthday. However, if it applies, when I say a gift, the picture of your boss that is enlarged and given to him, I don't think it will be rejected by that policy.
Yeah, I guess it shouldn't. I guess it shouldn't be affected.
Because, like I said, a beautiful notepad that you wrote the name of your boss will not be rejected by that policy. In other words, you need to be creative. It is your responsibility. Those who succeed in life are those who are emotionally intelligent, emotionally creative. So yes, there is a policy, but these are things that these are what do you call such things? Souvenirs. And I do not think the organization will be adverse to such. And if it gets so bad, a message to your boss on his birthday to compliment him, speak glowingly about him. No matter how bad somebody is, there are some good signs in him. Write those good signs. blow it up. And there is nobody that reads about himself in a good manner that is not excited. Nobody. Nobody. Even the devil. You wonder, how am I saying with the devil? Don't you see those who worship the devil, how they praise him? Those who worship the devil even praise him. So there is no matter how wicked you are, if you see somebody writing about you in a glowing manner and he pushes out the good things that you do, all that he does, you will be excited towards that individual. The Yoruba will say, okay, your mind will be softened towards the individual. So if it comes so bad, I mean, it's the word of bad, that such things are not even allowed, a word from you. Many years ago, let me give you this story. Many years ago, one of my great mentors is going to be with the Lord now. I was a serving corps member, so I do not have what to give. I wrote a 2-page, how do you call that now? I won't call it it's not a report, but I wrote a 2-page statement about him. He was a GM of a plant. In my moment with him, he turned around the plant. The great things he has done, which he has shared with me, I put all those things in a statement. The man was so happy about it that he glazed it. That shows to you every little thing matters. I do believe I must have answered that question.
Yes, you have perfectly. So we have one hand raised now. We had TF, please, can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you for the training. I'm so glad that I'm part of it. So my question is, I do not work for, I don't work for anybody, I'm self-employed, but I do have clients that I call my bosses too.
Correct.
But sometimes I have to represent and, do things for. So this, all the points apply to me. Now I have a question about a certain, I don't know if it was a mistake I made. In fact, that was the reason I was so prepared for this meeting. I really wanted to attend because the link came in time. It was as though Nike knew that I wanted something to clarify this for me. There is a client that I had, and he has a lot of insecurities, but didn't really matter to me. I was managing him, or I thought I was. But at some point, I saw that he was undermining me with my staff. When he talks to my staff, then he calls my staff behind me. He has his staff call my own staff and then give instructions, which is not supposed to be so. It was circumventing me. I was ignoring it. And as a Christian, I would pray about it. And I wasn't bothered at first. But at some point, I saw that it was making me uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. Then I lost it. I got very angry. I got very angry because at first it was trying to, shift goalposts that we set. I just saw all points of trying to circumvent me in a way that was not so honorable. And then I was still trying to understand, okay, let's renegotiate, let's do this, let's do that. And then you went and told my staff, one of my key technical staff, that, okay, you would like to continue working with him, but I am the problem. At first, you had been talking through your staff to my staff, but those ones would tell you to call their boss. And then now you went for a meeting that was too, I wasn't expecting, I thought there was a meeting, but then you canceled it. And then you sent a message in the middle of the night telling me there was a meeting, knowing that I would not be able to meet up. So I had to send my staff that was there, only for you to now be saying that to my staff. So I lost it. I called him on the phone after he had left the meeting. He said he was going to call me back. And then he had the gut to even put me on the phone and be saying, the way you put someone on a call, where it's on the speaker, everybody is listening, and I would not want to, undermine him or make him look silly. He knows I will be very careful with my words. And then you were saying the same thing that you said to my staff, and then you were saying it jokingly. And then you would not allow me to say anything tangible before you end up the call. Oh, I'll call you back when I get into the car. I knew what he was doing. He was being manipulative. I lost it. So now my question is, was I supposed to have been silenced while he undermines me, especially among my own staff? Was I supposed to be silent? Because when I called him back and he was saying, oh, I'm this person, I can do this, I can do, I said, you make it sound like we're in a competition. I do not want to be you. You are you, I'm me. There's no competition, I'm not contesting it, but I do not like this. Please do not do it again. But apparently, when I called him, he put the phone on speaker and he was with other people. So he felt so embarrassed that I was saying, please stop all this boastfulness. I'm not interested. I'm talking about this, which normally I wouldn't have done, but was I supposed to have been silent? That's the question, because it has really been bothering me. Thank you.
Now, first, you can't stop evil people from being evil. That's the truth. First, we need to understand that. You can't stop people who are manipulative from being manipulative. But sometimes you need to get results through them. That's the irony. Now, may I ask you, or you, if you won't mind, how important was this client to you? Was he a top-ranking customer?
Extremely important.
Did you ever take him out for lunch?
Well, I live in a different state. I've ordered food. I've sent him food several times when he said, oh, he had food poisoning, he had food, but I talk to him all the time. He calls me all the time, even talking about unnecessary things, telling me some things I do not even have interest in. I just listen, and then I've gone to see him when he was in the hospital with his family. I've gone there, even there, it wasn't so, I think his wife was uncomfortable because I was a woman, but I still managed them all. I just made them know that it was just about him being sick. I think I've done several things to make him so comfortable with me. And then he talks about unnecessary things, unnecessary things. Sometimes he'll be on my call, on a conference call with me and my staff. Maybe if I need an information and I say, okay, let me add this person to the call. And then he'll be like, oh, Tope, I want to give you an acre of land in so and so place. Or don't you want it? I'll be like, sir, I cannot reject it, so I'll be happy to have it. And then it's okay, tomorrow, we'll see tomorrow. Trust me, that's the end of it. He wasn't even trying to impress me. He was actually trying to impress my staff. I know him to do that several times. I don't bother. I would never ask him. I would never say anything. I would never make him feel silly for doing that. I endured all that all the time he does it. So if you could send driver across the state to come and carry food that I placed orders for, where he could place orders for the food where he lives, but he would say, oh, no, please do it for me, and I'll do it. I don't understand. I don't know if I didn't do enough because I indulged him a lot.
Now, let me add this, and I've seen this from experience. There are some people who will eventually make a mess of what we are discussing.
Come on.
Please take note of that. There are some people that after we have done all, you may not succeed in getting them. So we must not feel, oh, I did not do enough. It is just, they are just those outliers that will not make some of these things work. I had an unfavorable experience some years back. I see myself privileged in leadership skills. So one of my colleagues was having a problem with a team member, and I felt no problem, send it to me. I will be able to manage him. I feel that there's no problem. There's nobody I won't be able to manage. So we exchange team members. One of mine went to him, he sent this other particular guy to me. And like I used to say humorously, this guy messed up all the John Maxwell's books I've read. He he messed everything up. There was nothing that needs to be done that I did not do. Eventually, he happened to be someone that was issued a query and led to a warning, something like that, you know. But my point is, there are times you will have people that will make a mess of all the things you have learned. The only thing I will say is just ensure you do everything that can be done. The only thing I would have added to what you said you have done is, if it, depending on his level of importance and how well you would not want him to go, is to arrange a meeting with him, and the two of you will sit together, and you will use this opportunity to tell him some of the things he does that you do not like. Because at no point have you been able to tell him these things. But first, you need to connect with him before you can do that. So you will sit down with him in those lively moments, a breakfast together, a lunch together, and then you now say, sir, you know, I enjoy your services. I enjoy your service. You are one of our most important customers. But you know, there are things you do that I don't like. You know, you'll be joking, you'll be having tea, you'll be having biscuits, you're having bread, but you'll be passing across your information. Oh, sir, you know, some of this way you talk, it even makes my team members to disrespect me. And you know it's not good. You claim that you appreciate my services as well, but it is not good for you to be running me down. At the end of the day, it's not going to do us good. I do hope we'll be able to do something better. You'll be able to pass across your information in a very lively environment, in a lively atmosphere. And if after you have done that as well and nothing happens, and you feel, no, I can't take this pain. You know, it depends on which is important to you. Either you ignore the pain and you take what is bringing, or your pain is too costly for you, you cut him off. The choice is yours. I mean, it's a function of, there are people who have decided to resign from a job because they feel they are not being treated well. Now, it is because their mental health is of a higher value to them than whatever the job is given to them. But if they can suppress the pains and the value of the job is much more important, they keep staying there. So it's a choice that you will have to make after you have done all this to say, okay, do I cut this man off or I keep managing his idiosyncrasies? I don't know if that gives clarity.
Yes, it does. I just realized that would have probably worked, but I didn't think of that. I was too angry. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, man.
Okay, so please, I would like to add something to this conversation with TF. May I?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what I'm thinking you could do as well is that maybe you could introduce like a formal step in your relationship with, in this case now it becomes for all clients, where you have like a feedback session. So maybe you get your team members as well to also give their feedback. So you are bringing all feedback, including yours and what your team members have seen while working with this team, with your clients, to let them know that, oh, these are the things they've identified, and maybe you can sneak in the things you want to say as well and word them in the most professional way. And also give your client the opportunity to also give you feedback. So it won't be as if it will just be you talking. So it will help kind of manage emotions, because now you are now making more or less fact-based. So I don't know if that helps.
Thank you very much.
Now, I like to put a caution to that. There's some feedbacks that you can't give and may be too toxic for the client to receive in a formal way. So we need to balance it. Yes, the feedback mechanism is good, but there are some feedbacks. I mean, you may not, you know, some of these clients are so powerful that they also see themselves very powerful. You cannot give such formal feedback to a powerful individual. It's like telling a king the way you are marrying many more wives and you are giving it to him formally. And the same way you can still tell that king in that talking about marrying more wives, but it will be in a different manner. Look at what Esther did in the Bible. And like I was giving examples the other time, that was also politics. She was not supposed to enter, but she played politics backed up by a spiritual dimension. She said, okay, be praying for me when I go and play politics. So, and she cooked the kind of food the man will like. She did all manner. In other words, she looked for a lively environment where she would get the king in a relaxed mood. So you need to give such feedbacks in a relaxed atmosphere and not make it formal. I mean, the idea is a good one so that you have a feedback mechanism with clients. Clients give you feedback. You also give the client feedback. Maybe they don't pay on time. You know, those ones could be given in a formal manner. Their receivables spent this number of days. You know, and like I said at the beginning, you can say the same thing in two different manners. I mean, in two different ways, and they will communicate two different things. So I just want to put a caveat to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So do we have any more questions? Do we have anyone else with questions? Because we're trying to round up at this time. And I would like to just thank you very much, Pastor Dada, for this fantastic session. I hope that everyone has enjoyed. Please, if you have enjoyed this session, please let's hear your feedback in the chat room. And we're grateful. Thank you for your time as well, for people that have joined. Your presence also gave us joy. We're grateful. And so, like I said before other people joined, we'll try to do these types of sessions monthly. And I trust that Pastor Dada, when we call again, you'll answer us. And I just wanted to say, I love your what they call your background. I love it. Thank you, Shiju. Thank you, Binda. Thank you, Shiju. Thanks for I'm seeing your comments. I'm grateful. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
So I wish you all a happy Saturday. You're now free to go for your OMB. Thank you for attending. Yeah, okay. I'm glad.
Thank you for inviting me. God bless you.
Amen. Bye.